Sometimes people are uncomfortable when they have to think out of the box. And I think that's where IT really helps out. IT, see, because a lot of people, like what Matt just said, isn't about, well, I answer email and I go to meetings. See, my belief is that we haven't fully utilized the power of IT, and it's about decision making. It's not about email, it's not about dashboards, it's about decision making. And especially at the executive level, you've got to make decisions. And so what do you have that brings you to that point? I worked for a great guy named General Cross at Transcom, and I took him out to the University of Southern California to see some of the new technologies, and I told him, I said, you know, if you look at the movies, the Star Trek series or the movies or whatever, almost everything with the exception of Transporter has come about from Star Trek. Everything. I mean, I've got my iPhone 4 right now down there, and whatnot. It's better than my BlackBerry, but everything's come true. So he said, well, let's have a meeting. And it was almost kind of like the meeting like what we just had when I asked that question. And it was all general officers, nobody below general officer. And he says, and Keith, I want you to ask that question, how many of you watch Star Trek? And he says, I'll bet you a frothy beverage that nobody raises their hand. And so I did that. And nobody raised their hand, and as soon as General Cross raised his hand, everybody else raised their hand. So the bottom line is that I believe that it's about decision making and getting information at your fingertips that allows you to transform information into wisdom. And today we don't have that kind of decision making capacity in the area of command and control, in the area of regular defense business sessions. And things that actually give you the compelling argument today to stay the course. Today we do not have the relevant data that says, why am I spending $2.5 billion on this when I could be spending it this if all I did was just change this and change this? We think that technology, actually, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, sometimes technology is not the answer. It's our behavior is really the answer that needs to be changed.
Some technologies, once they're invented, become obvious. You can't imagine working without them. And I don't mean the sliding door, but a couple of years ago I was watching this movie called The Forbidden Planet. It came out in the 50s, and if you like sci-fi, you probably remember it. And they're flying through space, they're going to some planet, and they're using compasses and slide rules to figure out how to get there, right? To navigate the ship, they've got the pre-computer technology, and they're in space. And if you read a lot of classic sci-fi, you find that before the microchip became popular, sci-fi still existed. They just didn't think you'd have computers, right? And suddenly, you know, once you get that, well, it's obvious. Of course, we're going to use computers. Computers are going to gets us there. Heck, where they may go and we may stay, right? Suddenly, it's ubiquitous. Well, I think that's the way for process automation as well. We didn't start out in process. I founded the company 11 years ago. We weren't in process. It's just when I realized that process had such potential, like a pillar of 21st century organization, I decided that should be the theme of the company. Just like I can't imagine going to Mars with a slide rule, I can't imagine going to Mars without process, without automating the way you work. It can't just be email, right? It can't be the straitjacket of ERP. There's going to have to be a flexible way to automate work. And when I realized that, I thought that has to be what my company's going to be about, and we're just going to devote the next decade to making that real. So I enjoy thinking about the future as well. It's what led me into this field.